sewing machine, and what you should have now is one fold which has got like the outer line on it, and then you should have two inner pockets. Yeah, so where we've just sewn now, which one was it? This side, I can see it. We need to open that zip. We can turn the whole thing inside out, or the right way out, or what have you. Don't worry about, well, just try and make sense of it, if you like, yeah? So now, if you do that, you see what I'm saying, you will have, oop, we just do the zip back up now again, a minute. So if you do that, you will see that you've got two pockets inside the thing. But what we need to do is we need to do top stitching on this bit. So we need to, as we did the last time, open the zip out, yeah, and then smooth the liner down, pin it out of the way, and then put this under the machine, yeah, and top stitch it as best we can all the way down to hold that back. That's the first thing we need to do. So then we'd have top stitching on that line. Okay, so now we want to open both the zips, you know, to a reasonable amount, and turn the whole thing inside out again. Alright? So you've got your two liners, and what we want to do now is go in with our centre. Remember we made little notches, our centre notch in there, and this time I want clips, I think. Yeah, so I'm going to clip that middle piece to the central line, and then leaving these flaps free. Well, let's do the other end so we know we're central. Yeah, there's my notch. I'm clipping that to that end, right, and then with these two still staying free, yeah, you're not doing anything with that, I am going to clip the both, well, I'm going to go around and do a lot, but I'm going to clip the only, and we're only sewing the fleecy bits, yeah, and we're only sewing, I've got a pen, you know, you use your 1/4 inch, but we're only sewing from the liner out to the bottom, and the same this side, from the liner, you know, out to the bottom, you know, all the way around, 1/4 inch, forget that bit, just from where the liner starts, we're just sewing straight across there for a moment. Okay, now I know we've just been and we've just sewed from the liner outwards on all, just the what do you call it, just the felt, yeah, that's all we wanted to do. Next thing is bring your flaps out again, okay, and we just literally want to sew in the, on our 1/4 inch mark, right, which we're doing, we just literally want to sew across here, all right, on both ends. they're not going to move now because they've been sewn down. So on both ends, we want to sew across there on the machine, and then I'll come back. Okay, so I sewed one way and then sewed back. Sewed one way and then sewed back. Okay, now the next thing we want to do is we want to line up these liners, and again I got my notch so I know where the center of my liner is. Line that up with the edge and pop a clip in, and the same with the other end where my notch is. Line it up and put a clip in. Okay, and then and we're going to do exactly the same with this bit, which you could do now I suppose. So where your center notch is, where your center notch is line that up with the end of your zip, you know, the end of everything in the middle of the zip. Put a clip on it, and exactly the same with the other end. So you're lining everything up, and that center notch should be where the center of your zip is. Right. Now, whoops. What we want to do now, and we're going to have to do this carefully and fold it all behind us, is we want to sew out from there in the same manner. We want to sew from, forget the zippy bit at the minute, just sew from there out, and exactly the same from there out, quarter of an inch, obviously I'm not measuring it for the moment, and do that on both wings, if you like, of the liner, and then obviously on both liners, just sewing out from the thick bit to the outside, because we'll come back and do the middle bit in a minute. It's just easier to do it this fashion so that you don't get anything caught that shouldn't get caught under the needle. So we're going to sew, making sure that all we got under the needle is the one bit of liner. So from there out, all on all the edges for the liner. Okay. Okay. So now, as you can see, so now as you can see, I've sewn each individual flap. I didn't write a good line on that one, so it doesn't matter because it'll line out. Each individual flap has been sewn from the middle out, right? Now what we need to do is to bring everything flat again, she says. And I am. I can't. I want to make sure my zips are together, and then what we need to do is to just finish off that piece there across the zips on both ends. Just finish it off now. It would be difficult to have done it before, so that's all we need to do. Okay, for the next bit then, having done all that, keeping all this out of the way, we're turning it over. I'm going to make sure they're facing away from the bit that I'm going to work on now. And from our stitch line, we need to draw a 2 1/4 square. So 2 1/4 on my stitch line, 2 1/4 on my edge. So within that stitch line, yeah, I'm drawing a 2 1/4 box because there's my stitch line, yeah. So is that the same? Oops, which way around? Yeah, keeping them all out of the way. No, this way around. Right, 2 1/4 on the bottom and 2 1/4 on my stitch line. I'm drawing it. Okay, and then making sure all your stuff is out the way the other side now. Exactly the same. 2 1/4, 2 1/4. I draw a box. 2 1/4, 2 1/4, and draw the box. Okay. Then using a sharp pair of scissors, let me go get my best ones. Whew. We're going to cut. So with a sharp pair of scissors, and leaving yourself your seam allowance, so that line is going to become your stitch line. Yeah, cut out just the felt, cut out I didn't do very well, did I? Cut out all the corners, making sure you're not cutting anything underneath, and leaving yourself your seam allowance. Okay, now push it all back the other way. Remember your seam allowance. Because you can we'll use the pen mark as the sewing guide. Right, so that's that done. So now, as you can see, we've still got all this, and now we need to do these. Well, with the outside ones, that's easy, huh? But doing one at a time. So you've only got one layer, one liner. You can then use your mark, use what you already made. Oops. And then you've only got one. Yep, just the one. And you can do that and make sure it's just the one. Okay, but we need these two to be done as well, don't we? So with these two, we are going to have to get our ruler and make the marks. So 2 1/4 on my stitch line, 2 1/4 on my bottom, 2 1/4 on my bottom, 2 1/4 on my stitch line, draw my box. And this time remember to give myself my seam allowance. Oops. 2 1/4 on my stitch line, 2 1/4 on my bottom line. draw my square, but remember to give myself my seam allowance. Remember, there's nothing underneath it. That could leave you into lots of trouble. Come on. Bum bum. Right, that's that one done. So we've got one more, haven't we? Yep. One more to do. Everything else out the way. And ruler it out again. Where's my stitch line? Where's my stitch line? Right, okay. I got you. Leave yourself your seam allowance. Last one. Last but not least. 2 1/4. 2 1/4 on the stitch line. Blah 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 blah. So now, let's move all that out of the way. Let's come back to it. What have we got? Yeah, if we've got, got to remember that there will be a distance because of this piece in the middle. But anyway, we've now got a T-shaped piece. Not quite sure what went on there, but we've got a T-shaped piece on our lining, and we've definitely got a T-shaped piece on the outside with the pouches that are gonna hang down inside. All right, now forget that for a minute, leave that to one side. Yeah, because if you bring them up together, you see they match, so don't worry about that. Right, leave that to one side, and remember this piece we cut, this is a little handle. So what we're going to do literally is fold it in half, finger press it, fold the outside to the middle, finger press it, same with the other side, outside to the middle, finger press it, try and get it accurate, Jack. Finger press it. I rub my nail. And then all over, so you've got one strip, yeah? And then we're going to sew both sides, both along the sides, we're going to sew under the machine right now. Okay, so I've just come back and I've stitched this. In it in the camera. Yep. About 1/8 of an inch either side. I lengthened my stitch to 3. I always do if I'm doing top stitching. It just makes a nicer look than it being too dense a stitch. Right. So the next thing we need to do is take in our pouch and figuring out which end is the beginning. Is that it, I think? Just looking through. Yep, those are the closed ends. So the ends that have got our zipper tabs will be on, yeah? We need to now make these boxes, okay? Forget all the lining, forget all that for a minute. We need to make these boxes. So obviously we're going to make sure that everything is in the middle. We're going to pop the tab inside, remembering that the bit you will see, so you want your best side to be at the top, yeah, or when I say your best side to be facing the straight bit, and then pop that in there. You could bring it out a bit so you can see it, but you want it straight. Mine's not straight, is it? You see what I'm doing? I ain't, no, see, I knew it. Let me just move the camera a little bit. There, now you can see what I'm doing. So I've just literally taken this, best side sewing to the back, put it in the middle, and I want it in the middle, and I want to then take my clips. So glad we made this pouch made this little holder for our clips last year. And I'm holding everything together, yep, and then around the other side of where the zips are, obviously that's going to come out, and again you want that. Make sure you've not got it twisted, yeah, make sure you've not got it twisted, and then put that side together, making sure that this is on the seam, yeah, straight-ish, straight as you can, and clip that. Okay, clip that. Then you don't have to worry about anything going on the other side. So keeping all your pouchy bit, your lining bits out of the way, we can literally bring those together. Yep. Where's the other one? Keeping the pouch out of the way, keeping the lining out of the way, and we can literally plop those together. And then we're going to go and sew all of these where I've clipped, sew all of these with your 1/4 inch seam. Right, okay, I've sewn it, remembering to back stitch when you start and back stitch when you finish, yeah? So I've done all that now, and what we've got left to do is the liner. Now, in exactly the same way, ow, my nail's getting caught in my fur. Right, in exactly the same way, we need, oh, let's find an easier one. We need to line up these bits but one of them we need to leave open. Otherwise we're never going to get it turned out, are we? So while you're going round doing this, you need to remember that one of them, well, you just want to, you basically, I'm going to do it on this one, I think. I'm going to put pins in so it reminds me. Because otherwise we'll never get to the inside of this, will we? So this one, I'm going to say, right, on this one, I am just going to sew from the edge. There's only just over 1/2 inch. Just from the edge, just so that I got less to sew up at the end. And just 1/2 inch from the edge of there. Yeah, so I'm going to leave that gap in the middle open. Actually, don't look a lot, does it? I don't know. I wonder, can I get everything through there? Oh, no. I might actually, let's see how we go, because this is the first time I've made it. I might leave one entirely open and see what that's like to stitch up after, because they're not very big, are they? So let's just see how we go. Oh. Anyway, you get the idea of what I'm doing, don't you? I'm clipping it together, and it's going to get some 1/4 inch under the machine, all the way, each and every one. Yeah? You open that zip a bit more in there. Give myself a bit more room. Oh. Right, a bit more room now to play. Right, and I'm going to go to the sewing machine and sew them all, but leave one open. Alright, so what we've done in exactly the same way, let's pick one, that we sewed across, you know, the centre seam in the middle and sewed across the box edges on the outside. Then what we've done with all the pieces except for one, we've done exactly the same, centre seam in the middle and sewn across the edges. Okay. See that? Yeah, like that. On every single one except for one. I got one. Yay! I got one that's open. Now, here's a reveal. We now have to pull everything very gently to not make that cut any bigger. Is to bring through gently Bentley, lovely dovelies. This is the first time my little project I've actually put together. I'm hoping that it's going to be good gumshoes, but it may not. Let's just see. Let's just see. Keep going, keep going, keep going. You can use your fingers to push out the points. Hopefully. And keep bringing it the right way round. Keep bringing it. Oh, is it any good? Is it not any good? You know I'm making this for Sam, really, don't you? But this is part of our first thing I've made as part of our new bedroom bathroom accessory range, which I hopefully will be doing all in the same material, because I do like things that match up, you know, like I did all the pink for the sewing room. I might make one of these in pink for the sewing room as well. But Sam asked me a little while ago, she said, I'm looking for a double zip pouch to keep my sewing, my thread bobbins in. Oh, sometimes you've got to cut things. These are not very good scissors. 3 times to get rid of it. Right. Okay, so, yep, looking good. Now, the only thing I haven't done as you can see, that's now come into a pouch, can't you? Yeah, that's now just working here with my little fingers, and that's coming into a pouch. But the only thing I haven't done is obviously where we turned this through was this. It's on camera, isn't it? Yeah, was this last little bit which we turned it through from. So what we need to do, 1/4 inch, turn it, roll it, turn it round to it the other way because I'm right-handed, right, roll it, oops, what I always find better that if I get, oops, 2 bits to match. Let's look where that is. That's got to be on there. Yeah. So if I roll that bit, put them together, and put a pin in it to hold it for a minute. Right. Then I can roll that bit. Oop. Roll that bit. See? And then put a clip on that bit, right? And the same this end. Roll it under, and then look at that, nasty, you don't want that. Roll that under. Just roll it under. Yay, I got it. Now, I'll put a clip on there as well. Right, so I would then, I mean, if you're a perfectionist, you would hand sew that. Where's that come from? I don't know. Right, you could get your needle and thread and slip stitch that closed, or ladder stitch it. I don't do you know how to ladder stitch, slip stitch or ladder stitch, and you wouldn't know anything was funny there. But I am fairly lazy, not lazy, but I want things done now, so I'll just put that on the machine, do an 1/8 of an inch seam across there, and that will close it. Now let's pretend we've done that, okay, and let's look at the whole thing made up. Yeah, made close. Quite pleased with this. Come from the drawing board to fruition. Obviously you could also press out, the box seams, yeah, press out the box, you know. Or another thing that I do quite frequently actually when I'm making handbags is that I would put clips like this on the bit that I want it to be straight. Just put a few clips on that I want it to like set, and then leave it overnight, and it's amazing how that then will keep the shape. But anyway, I will probably just go and press that box end, yeah, and at the end of the day, there we are. So you could do with just run a very light iron, remembering you've got fusible in there, so you don't want anything too hot. So there we are, Sam. There's your double. You've got one side this side, which I haven't quite finished off yet, and then you've got the other side, that side, yeah. And what's it, hang on, let me just think, what does Sam want to keep in it? She wanted to keep, ooh, let me just pick up half a dozen different ones. She want to keep all the different colours of bobbins in, yeah? So that she could keep things together inside there for sewing, I think. That's what Sam wanted it for. I have made it. Oh. Let's take all those out again now. I have made it in these colours because I want it part of my bedroom bathroom set. And what I want to keep in here, I have sort of decided that I am going to keep in there nail varnish, bottles of nail varnish. Anyway, I need to give that a press. But there, Sam. And obviously, you know, that's handy. And it's nice to be able to hold on to something while you open it, isn't it? But anyway, so there you are. Does need a press, but a little double-sided zip pouch.